Hello and welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me as always, our resident athletic expert, Tate Matthews. Tate, Spring Fling is in the books. We had a great, WCS Sports Conference had a great athletic year, really good Spring Fling. WILLCOs are over, thank goodness. Man, it's one of those things where we just got to tidy up everything.
Fun May. Hard to believe we're already in June, but you're right. As always, we usually have great Spring Fling performances by the WCS Sports Conference, and got our first baseball state championship, and I don't know how long. I know first one since 19 ever for Brentwood High School, right? So it was big. It was big, and that was a big part of it. That was fun to watch.
So 22 sanctioned events. In the 3 years that I've been here, we've been to the state tournament in every sport but one. We marked one of those off the list. It was two at the first this year. Softball gets in. Let's start there. Softball, Erica Powell, the Brentwood Lady Bruins, finish out the year 31-11-2. Great season. Can't say enough about the job that she did. They beat Brighton 5-0 in the opening game of the AAA state tournament, but then have to play this game. What time of the morning was it?
It went past midnight. I don't even think it started till 11, did it?
Right.
And they sat there all day, too. I mean, that was no excuses.
Coach Powell would not let you make excuses, but that doesn't help. Right, it does not help. They lose to Powell 9-2, and then eventually lose to Coffee County 6-3 to put them out of the state tournament.
And they had to turn around and play that one relatively early the next day. So
right.
Yeah, I mean they got thrown. The scheduling and the weather, and they weren't handed any favors once they got there.
But they finish out the season 31-11-2. Good year for the Lady Bruins.
Oh, without a doubt. And they hadn't even won the region since I believe 2008, and so to make it there, great job. And you can already tell just she's only been there 2 years, and this program's completely changed. They've got the pitching and exciting team to watch. A lot of home runs this year. So this isn't a 1 year deal. They're getting ready to go on a run here.
Hannah Koenig did a great job all year as one of the stars for this team. Yeah. We have right now
both from the mound and the plate. I mean, if you look at in your individual sport, she might have been as dominating in her individual sport as anybody in the sports conference this year.
Interesting and neat little side bit here, little fact. We have arguably the most relevant, the most let's say highest level coach right now in the state of Tennessee, Coach Laviolette of the Predators' daughter, who plays on this team. Coach
did not know that.
He sure did. He was at the game. He came as a fan to watch that game, in particular the late night one, and I thought that was interesting.
Yes, without a doubt. And, since we're talking about softball, and Coach Powell's one of the best, like we talked about, it's no surprise that this has happened this quickly since he got here. There was some pretty big softball news last Friday. You want to allude to that?
Go ahead.
Coach Shane Buchanan, new head softball coach, Independence, 3 state championships, 6 state championship game appearances, some 3 runner-ups. Kurt Jones, man, he might be in the lead for AD of the year. That was a big hire. Well,
it's one of those deals we talk about.
I guess he's not AD, athletic principal.
Sorry, Kurt. You look at the rural areas, and when you look at Dixon County, all the surrounding counties that have been successful in that particular sport. There's not a lot of contention from other sports, such as volleyball. Volleyball is here. We've talked about this before, volleyball and softball and girls basketball. They had a good girls basketball team at Dixon. And that usually translates. A lot of those girls probably play both sports. But they have had a serious track record at Dixon. And for him to come over to the WCS Sports Conference, it's interesting to see. It's a great dynamic for us. It's a great dynamic for Independence High School. And it'd be interesting to see what he does moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. He will. And they were already on the right track. Coach Weiland had done a good job with them, but he can flat coach some softball. So it's going to be fun. I think there's going to be some rivalries pretty soon that are going to be fun to watch starting in 2018.
On the baseball side, man, we had an exciting Spring Fling Summit. Comes from behind on this thing, wins the regional championship, beats Brentwood in the regional championship 1-0. And they had the right to host Beach at home. Beach, obviously, coming into this game, had not been hitting the ball real well, scoring a lot of runs. Kind of opened up the gates, if you will, the floodgates, and beats Summit 7-1. So Summit comes up a game short of getting in the state tournament. However, Brentwood goes in, plays Northeast, has to travel to Northeast, wins 8-2. before beating Mumford 4-0. Blackman 6-2, lost to Dobbins-Bennett in that first game of the doubleheader there, 6-4, and then turn around and beats Dobbins-Bennett to eliminate them 5-3 to get themselves into the AAA state championship game. Sets up a game between them and Stewart's Creek. Stewart's Creek was, everybody's talking about how good this team is,
right,
how deep they are, the pitching, but Brentwood prevails 5-3. What an exciting game it was. Me and my family all were there watching them. The Bruins played well. Carson Shacklet, Dreyer, the quarterback duo there. Great games from those guys. And, it's just one of those games where Brentwood was not going to lose.
No, and the whole week was a great story. They win 5 games in 4 days in AAA baseball. And you mentioned Carson and Dreyer, the 2 quarterbacks, multi-sport guys, just competitors. And we already saw that in the football season. So they played great. Jackson Pope played great. Luke Reedy played great. Tyler Shelton, if you look at the regular season, Carson Shacklet, Luke Reedy, Caden Dreyer, Tyler Shelton, they all batted over 300 for the season. What did we say? They played 41 games. And then Jackson Pope was like at 296. So I'm going to count that. He had a huge tournament. So, and all 5 of them stepped up big. But if you want to talk about the state championship game, you got to talk about Connor Gibson. 4 2/3 innings pitch, gets the win with a torn labrum. That's tough.
Literally, they were out of pitchers. Everybody, both sides were. I mean, I believe the next step was to pull the catcher, Dreyer, and let him pitch if need be. But Connor Gibson steps up there, torn labrum, obviously, a little bit of pain going on, throws the ball.
I think more than a little bit, but yes, I know.
All speed the entire time. They couldn't sit on it long enough. Couldn't figure out the speed of the thing, and really, really played a gutsy performance. I mean, you could almost, I hate to say that you put the win directly on his shoulders, but man, he came in and gave them the opportunity.
Well, let's say this. You can't in a game like baseball, but I don't think they win without him. If he hadn't pitched that day, I don't know that they win. And Coach Moore talked about it. I mean, he kept thinking, it's time to pull him. He kept saying, I got more. I mean, I can't even imagine how tough that young man is. He's a senior. Everything about it was just a really neat story. And you're right. I mean, Stewart's Creek had no answers for it. They couldn't adjust to it. And he didn't come in until, about 2 1/3 innings into the game. So they had no expectations of that happening. They had no time to plan for it or anything. And it just, they had no answers.
And came in the middle of a jam, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Bases loaded, I think it was 1 out, gets out of the jam. I mean, it just one of those exciting games that it could have gone either way. And then as the game progressed into the last inning, you can see everybody tightening up. I mean, things going a little different. We're loose. Things are fun. Things are going our way. 4th inning, 5th inning, and then you get in that last inning, and all of a sudden it was like, oh no, we're 3 outs away, and it seems like it's 2 miles away.
It took forever. Right?
It took forever to get there. Next thing you know, bases loaded, and you get a pop out and a strikeout, and things are, Well, anyway.
Well, and then earlier in the week, too. I mean, I think this thing was meant to be earlier in the week on Wednesday when they play Blackman. They're tied 2-2. Mason Cadell comes in and hits a walk-off grand slam, his only at-bat in the entire game to win it. And he was coming in for, I can't remember who he was coming in for, but that's what his deal was. He comes in and gets that hit.
Destiny.
Grand slam. I mean, that's pretty big.
How many people can say, stepped in, walk off, grand slam.
Yeah. So and I know people get tired of it, but I love the rule about the regular season champions move on because it is a grind. 3-game series with all these teams. You ask Coach Moore, and he'll tell you he thought, looking around the teams of the AAA, he thought Ravenwood, Independence, and Summit were very possibly better than the teams that were there. And so. If that rule's not in place, we're not even talking about this. I really think that's a great rule. I think it's a great rule, and you get rewarded for that tough regular season, and then obviously they don't win the district tournament, but they fight their way back through 5 wins in 4 days on the state champion at Spring Fling. Great story.
So go ahead while you're talking about that. Let's talk about the toughness of our district, 11 AAA, and how difficult it is to even go through there to get wins, to get yourself in a position, let alone win the tournament.
Right.
So talk about that for just a second.
Well, you look at, let's go back to the regular season, Independence. This is the best year they've ever had in baseball or in a while since Coach Mike McClurry's been there, without a doubt. I mean, that thing was he had to rebuild that thing. This is the best year they've had in years, and they win the opening series against Brentwood. So Independence beats them in a series win, and so you got that. Then you get to the district tournament. Brentwood doesn't even make it to the championship game of the district tournament. So Summit, Ravenwood, we talk about it all the time. Every year come spring, Ravenwood, nobody wants to see them because they always pick somebody off. So you're sitting there and really you look at between Independence, Summit, Ravenwood, and Brentwood, we very possibly could have had 4 of the top 10 teams, top 8 teams in the AAA, and they're all in one district. Only 2 of them make it. That's tough.
Well, WCS Sports Conference, we talk about it in football, we talk about it in basketball. We know we're pretty good, but we get so used to seeing each other. We get so used to watching that action. We saw it in basketball specifically this year. We know it in football. You just know it. When you get out, you know that our regions are pretty good. Basketball, still kind of uncertain. You have to go up against the Metro League, and we came out pretty good this year.
We did.
You get in baseball, you still don't know. You think so, and then you get out, and you're like, any one of those top 3 teams probably could have won the state championship. Not to take it away from Brentwood. I'm just saying that's the best team prevailed.
Right.
And congratulations to Brentwood for doing so. But I'm just saying our league is that difficult.
Without a doubt. And that's, again, going back to where we started on this. That's why I like that rule. There has to be a reward for winning that regular season. And so
specifically for running that gauntlet, for
that's
sure.
Right, without a doubt.
On the boys soccer side, Nate Clapp, Page High School gets themselves for the first time in history in the AA boys soccer state championship side. They beat Jackson Northside 1-0, CAK 2-1, and then they eventually lost to Greenville 2-1. I was at that game. You want to talk about a crowd. We saw the game day fathead there, man. I'm telling you, all
was
of it.
Vincent there?
Vincent Hall was in the house. He had his fathead there. The entire Patriot Nation was there. Great atmosphere. Huge crowd. I can't stress how big that crowd was. Not a place to sit. And in Murfreesboro, at that particular state championship stadium that they use for the soccer state championships, it's a really cool venue. I mean, it's like football stadium amount as far as how many can get in the stadium, not a seat in the house. But Page is leading 1-0 at halftime. They come out, give up a quick goal, and then give up a second goal there in 6-minute stretch to get behind 2-1, and just it looks like they ran out of gas. They couldn't ever get the ball and on their end of the field and try to get a good shot on goal.
That's tough, man. And I thought this was the year. He's been so close in getting there. And they finally got over the hump, and then they get to the state championship game, win over CAK, who's one of the, usually when you beat them, you got to think we've got the toughest opponent out.
And CPA got beat too, so
That's right.
I was thinking PGA, CPA, and Page going one more time. That would have been their 4th time this year to go against each other for the state championship. And I was kind of like you. Once I saw them get put out, Page beat CAK, I thought they've got a chance.
Yep. And I'm assuming, and we're up at halftime, so that's a lot of running to do. And
controlled the field pretty much predominantly for the whole first half. It's kind of like hockey. All of a sudden, we're all hockey enthusiasts. We know about hockey. We know what's going on. Soccer and hockey, there's a lot of things that are identical. And obviously, you can control the field or control the ice if you keep the ball, the puck on that end, shooting and applying pressure. Well, that's what happened the first half for Page. Second half, it's like the tables completely turned. They were back on their heels playing defense, a lot more shot on goals, and when that happens, eventually one will get by you.
They start slipping by the goalie and end up in the back of the net. Unbelievable season, though.
Franklin High School boys lost to Cookeville 1-0 in the opening round of the AAA state championship. They finished 11-5-2. Coach Burgoyne, great season for those guys as well. Girls tennis. I don't think there's any shockers here on the girls tennis side. Actually, if you look at the AA, they're kind of shockers, but you think WCS did well in the girls tennis. Let's look at it. Brentwood girls repeat as the AAA state champions. Summer Henry from Brentwood wins the singles again. I think that's her 3rd year in a row.
She's dominant.
Calhoun and Fisher, Brentwood girls win the doubles. And Sarah Bracken from Page wins the AA. So I would say that on the girls' side specifically, did pretty good.
Pretty strong. And Summer Henry, not all of them. That's congratulations. They're number one at what they do. But that young lady she's an impressive athlete.
She'll be taking her talents to IU next year up in Bloomington, Indiana, for the Indiana Hoosiers tennis team, which is interesting to talk to her mother. Her mother was explaining a little bit how that process went down on the recruiting side, and and had some good offers here in the SEC. Wanted to stay in the SEC, but then just fell in love with Indiana and fell in love with the coach, the way the things were going down, and I think she'll be a contributor right off the bat.
Without a doubt.
Right off the racket.
Right.
When you think so?
Yes.
On the boys' side, David Scrabbit of Page wins the boys singles AA state championship. Sam Fisher, AAA boys winner from Brentwood. I don't think there's any surprise there.
No.
Ravenwood boys team are the runner-ups for the AAA side of tennis thing. So overall, sum up WCS Sports Conference tennis.
Number one sports conference in tennis in the state. I mean, just like everything else. Here's what I'd like to say. We always talk about a +1. Oh, man, a couple years ago, if we could have had a +1 Independence and Ravenwood playing football, think of how many tickets we could sell. We need to have a +1 Summer Henry versus Sam Fisher.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Go. Or have a mixed
I'd go
you
when
can do a mixed double anyways.
That'd be good.
You could do a mixed double and get Summer Henry and Sarah Bracken versus Fisher and David Scrabbit.
Bring it on. I'd love it.
That'd be interesting.
I'd go.
Track and field, one of our stronger sports as well in the WCS Sports Conference. We had a ton of winners. Talk to us. Who we get? Who did well?
Well, usually we do great on both, and we had a lot of strong performances. But this year we really showed out on the girls' side. If you just look at AAA alone in the overall team standings, Brentwood 2, Ravenwood 4, Independence 7. Now we're used to Brentwood and Ravenwood doing that in girls track. And this is not the first year, but Independence the last couple of years has really emerged. Coach Carter's done a great job with the track and field program there. Also on the girls' side in AAA, Page 9th. So Addie Coggins, no surprise there. She gets first place in the 1600.
Going to Florida State?
Going to Florida State. We learned that at the WILLCOs. And you can tell she's pretty excited about that. I don't blame her. That's going to be pretty fun. Going down there to run, she came in second in the 3200.
Where's her sister running? Putting you on the spot.
Florida.
Roll Tide.
See, I had to block that out of my. I mean, I'm a fan of hers, but I think I'd rather go to Florida State, especially to run track. Catherine Coffey, Brentwood High.
First ever.
First time ever. First and second place in the. First place in both the shot put and the discus. I believe she's a junior. I'm fairly confident in that. Most people don't know this. Her father is Otis Coffey. Played football at Franklin and at UT back in the day. I think she could outthrow him. So first place in the shot and the discus, very impressive. Riley White, the 400 meters, first place in the 400 meters, and then Ravenwood also wins the 4x4 100. So those. Mary Leischner, first place in the pole vault.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Here's another fun fact. Who won the boys' side last year? Do you remember?
Her brother.
That's correct.
I do
First
remember.
ever brother-sister duo to win state championship.
Who had a higher pole vault? Do you remember?
I would say that he did.
All right. So I have to admit, I'm not an expert in the pole vault. This is where you come in to play. She got 11 feet 4 inches.
Right.
That's pretty strong, right?
Right.
Yep. Gigi Maddox, her teammate from Page,
Just to put it in perspective.
comes in second.
That's right. She came in second at what, 9 feet?
9 feet.
So you're the only person on AA. I didn't check the AAA side. You're the only person on AA that hit double digits.
That's pretty strong.
And you won by 2 feet.
2 feet.
And
Now Gigi got second.
I'm just going to say, I'm going to tell you from a high jump perspective, because pole vault to us was hitting a stick across the creek, right? And high
Y'all didn't
jump,
have a mat.
right,
You had to
right.
wear a helmet.
And high jump, in all honesty, the difference between 6'4" and 6'6", 6'6" and 6'8", which is 2 inches, is, tremendous is not
Growing
even.
up in Hickman County, the high jump, y'all practiced on the fence with those little spikes, right? You had to clear it.
Well, forget the spikes. We put the electric fence up there, so you didn't have no choice but to catch it, right?
That's motivation.
But I'm glad we could insert Hickman County joke there. But in all honesty, 2 inches is a mile.
Yeah.
In high jump.
2 feet.
So what's 2 feet in pole vault?
2 feet 4 inches.
Okay, go back to the running events. We talk about running events and what's happened throughout the year. Anytime you get beat by 5 to 10 seconds in a mid-distance race, that's a long way.
Yeah.
That's like half a second to a second in a sprint.
It's a noticeable when
That's
you're
correct.
watching it.
So I hope you're following what I'm saying.
Yes.
That
She dominated.
by a country mile.
Yeah. Gigi got second with a 9 foot. She also got runner-up in 3,200, so she had a great performance. Michael McMahon, second in the 110 hurdles, fourth in the 300 hurdles for Paige. So Paige had a very strong performance. Bubba Johnson, my man, Donald Bubba Johnson, freshman, wins the discus. This guy's a dude, man.
He's a dude.
We're going to see a lot. We saw a lot of him this past football season. Going to see even more of him this fall. I know what I do. I know Coach Rathbone knows more about football than I, but I know who'd get a heavy dose of that ball come this year, come football season. But just a freshman, man. And one of the best running backs in his region district, wins the state championship in discus, and I think what he throw? He threw
140.
140.02 inches. Freshman.
That's a good throw.
And he's a heck of a wrestler too. So.
And Jake Merriman, Fairview's Lone Spring Fling,
he came in fifth.
Representative, gets fifth there. He's got the state record. The school record at Fairview. Shout out to him.
Elijah Dreyer, I want to mention him. Gets second in the 200. And he hadn't even been running track that long. I'm pretty sure. I hope I don't misspeak on this. I'm fairly. I know he has been. He's going to go run track in college. Now, I don't know that he's been. He just came out, and I believe it's University of Alabama Huntsville.
That's correct.
Coach Daniels was telling me this. I mean, he's been a football player. He's been a wrestler. He said, I'm going to run track because I'm fast. And here he is. He's going to go run track in University of Alabama Huntsville. They think they're getting a steal. They probably are.
I mean, to watch him in the 100-meter dash, right? So he comes in second in the 200. He gets in the 100-meter. He ends up, I think, getting seventh. But to look at who he's running against and look at that, I mean, you're talking about the top runners in AAA. Usually the sprints, you get somebody from Memphis, Metro, always usually go 1, 2, 3 there. He holds his own, gets seventh in a pack of guys there. Fun kid to watch. Good kid. Wilco, finalist there.
Yeah, he was dressed nice too.
He could have had the best jacket of the night, right?
Yeah, it was strong. I don't know, man. John Carter in his white jacket. He pulled that off pretty well. There was a lot of good ones. Boys overall, real quick. Boys overall, second place, Brentwood. So Brentwood finished runner-up, both boys and girls AAA. That's I think everybody can figure out how strong of a performance that is.
All right, speaking of the WILLCOs, were 2 weeks ago. Seems like yesterday, but it's 2 weeks ago, thank goodness. Ooh, take a deep breath there, because that event has gotten to the point that it's pretty large, to say the least, right?
Huge.
Year one, 247 seats, 247 gold tickets given out, one venue. Last year, we had 247 gold tickets given out, and then an additional 500 silver tickets, if you will, going to a second facility to watch it. This year, we put it all under one roof, 900 seats. What do you think?
I've been to quite a few events at the factory, and that was Jamison Hall, right?
Liberty
Hall. Jamison's the smaller. In Liberty Hall, I've never seen that many people in it. So, I mean, it was filled. There wasn't a whole lot of – there was standing room, right, I guess, because there were no empty chairs. And so I thought it was great, and to see, we talk about it every year, but to watch this thing grow and to the size that it is now, it was just a pleasure to watch, and I love seeing the young men and women dressed up like that, and they have fun with it. And you mentioned Elijah and his jacket. The girls, they always look very lovely in their dresses. I love that, but you see some of the personalities coming out of the young men in their tux choices, and he was one of them. But I thought it was great. Vince Neal, Motley Crue, man.
What about that?
I mean, I know the parents and the coaches and us, I know we loved it. I hope the kids got it. But, I mean, Vince Neal now. And he was impressed. Coach Fulmer was there. John Robinson was there. It was awesome. I loved it.
Well, my favorite part of the show, which is the part that you were involved in heavily, obviously the star of it, was the red carpet walk.
I was the star because I was sitting next to Carrie.
I mean, it's really, really neat to watch the kids come through. I mean, it's one thing to be honored there, but when you look down and you're walking the red carpet and there's a sea of people.
Yes.
And the media's there. I mean, there was probably anywhere between 5 to 10 media outlets. I mean, it looked like the paparazzi. As soon as they hit the carpet, you could hear the flashes and the cameras going off and people yelling and them turning and looking. And then we had Anna Glenn Grove there and Sierra from Summit.
They did great.
Interviewing on the red carpet. Darren Joins, Carrie Goodwin, Tate Matthews at the desk.
They did great.
Looked like a circus. We had inflatables there. I mean, it was.
Oh, you and your family walked the red carpet. That was a big event.
I did that. Just
Major got some pub.
Major, my assistant athletic director, my 9-year-old son was driving me nuts about walking the carpet, so I decided, let's let him mark the carpet. But it was. I love that part of the event because everybody gets their own individual moment. It's special, and the event's special. They need to feel that way.
Yeah, and they do, and they appreciate it, and the coaches. It's been fun to watch. Let's be honest. The first year, people were kind of.
What is
the
this?
WILLCOs? What are we doing here?
Do we have to go to this?
Right, and now they look forward to it. It was awesome, and the Courage Award, Dr. Matt Harris, Berry Farms Chiropractic. It's been great every year. Hunter was.
Let's talk about that for just a second.
Really neat.
Hunter Garston wins the Courage Award winner. If you haven't seen it, we'll post the link on the show so you can see that package. But let's talk real quick. What did it take to pull this thing off? Who did it take to pull this thing off? I mean, I can't say enough about our two sponsors and partners of the year. Obviously, Mark Cross, Buffalo Wings and Rings, John Street Tuxedo. That was long overdue.
Right.
He makes our kids look fantastic for this event. Never asked for anything.
And the adults too.
Yes. And Mark Cross, what he's done, as you well know, provided food and many resources for it.
He was working his tail off too. I don't know if you got to see him. He was back there sweating like he was working.
Yeah. But, Matthews Team Sports, what you guys do for us with the shirts year in, year out, all the things that you give us, it amplifies what we're doing. So thank you to you. Spring Tree Media, the set, the sound, so many things that Peter McKay and his group does. I mean, you can speak on that secondhand.
Well, when you hear a guy like Coach Fulmer or Vince Neal, and they say Kippy Brown last year, I can't believe how nice this is. I did not expect this to look this nice. That's Spring Tree Media and along with the other folks.
John Mayer Builders, $5,000 scholarship he gave to Hunter Dupree, which was, I loved his face that night, so awesome. Unexpected. Berry Farms Chiropractic, Matt Harris, what he does every year and provides some monies to those media groups that we know are so important to the success of what we do every day for the WCS Sports Conference.
Yeah. And David Pack with the factory, because that's not an easy venue to get, and he wanted it. It's good for them, but I mean, he worked with you to have it there, and without a doubt, is it big enough to have it there? I think that question's answered. Next question is, holy cow, do we have to do something bigger? Because I don't know what there is, but it was just a great night.
Education Foundation paying for Coach Fulmer.
That's
Can't
right.
say enough about that organization and what they do for public education. MTSU Media Arts. Mark Parrish and his crew came down, didn't charge a dime, set up that $2.5 million production truck.
Yes.
Did everything for us, inside, outside, the whole entire show, to make that thing look as professional. I'm telling you right now, outside of the speakers, I would dare put that show up, production value-wise, against anything anybody does, even at the collegiate and professional levels.
Without a doubt. And then Terry Flowers in the truck.
Shane Shoemake. Warren Riker.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on. Lindsey Quirk.
Well, and you mentioned Sierra and Anna Glenn. I mean, they were better than people that get paid to do that. Seriously, I mean,
right.
they were better than people we watch on TV. So
however,
those two young ladies.
Our parts are not. So
no.
With that being said, we're giving them the red light and the hook to get off the air right now. So I'm glad you watched us. Look for those links. Maybe you can see the WILLCOs. Hey, we'll see you next time on WCS Sports Connection.